Hey folks, thanks for checking out this video. So yeah, I wanted to do a quick video on an app that I'm working on, like a little demo video, mainly to get feedback. So I'd love any feedback on positioning, features, pretty much anything you can think of. But I'll dive right in. So I'm going to reset my profile so we can see what it looks like from the beginning. The background music is part of the onboarding flow, and it might be a little bit loud because it's coming from my device, but hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, so the idea of Pause is really to be like a happiness optimization app, which sounds a little strange, but hopefully it'll make sense at the end of this video. But I love this line here, where it's talking about transforming your phone from a distraction device into a cozy sanctuary for your mind. So that's kind of how I see it. And so let's go ahead. There's a quick heads up on AI being unpredictable, and also just to, I guess, clarify the positioning around being around supporting well-being, but obviously not being a replacement for professional care. But essentially, here you get to like enter some basic details, and this is gonna personalize your app experience. So we can set some basic info here. And then you get to create this AI companion. So that's the sort of chat character that we were looking at earlier. And so I'm going to use that name Pixel that it suggested. And it can be a human, a robot, an animal. Let's go with like a human for now. Some of these haircuts, I'm not sure. Y2K spikes. Okay, let's go for black hair, Y2K clothing, and purple. Let's try that out. And so behind the scenes, it's using like a text to image model to just generate like a little preview of your character. And obviously you can edit it further, but I think for now, let's just roll with that. Next, you get to pick the personality, so the tone of voice that your character speaks in. And I'm thinking about adding a few more interesting ones here, but let's go with create a friend for now. And so this is going to create your companion that you can chat with. And so now we're in the app, and we'll come back to the chat area in a bit. But first, I want to talk a little bit about this section. So this area is really essentially a journaling area. And so I tried out a bunch of journaling apps myself, and I really struggled to stick with this like daily habit of journaling. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of gamify it a little bit. And so obviously you can see the streaks count, that kind of stuff. But the idea is that you can pop in here and you can record a journal entry about these different categories. So it could be a memory that you might have that you want to explore. It could be a topic that you want to learn, a goal that you want to achieve, something that inspired you, or something that you're grateful for. So various sort of personal growth categories, and you basically just type in your memory here. And what it does behind the scenes is, if I take one here, so after you entered your journal entry, you get a gem. So it's like the reward that you get for entering your journal entry. But it also provides you some AI generated insights. So it'll look at your specific memory or your specific journal entry. So this one was around wanting to learn more about quantum computing, and it gives me reflection or insight, and also looks at connected patterns between your various journal entries. So I think that's kind of like a really interesting feature to get an overview of your patterns over time. And so this is the sort of core of the app. But the interesting thing is what you can actually do with these gems, right? So the gems, to me, I see them as like tokens or a currency that you can use to create game worlds, essentially. And so what I mean by that is if I open this create game modal, I can go ahead and pick the quantum computing gem that I was rewarded with. And then by setting a few basic things, I might say like cyberpunk, I get to create a hero, I'll call it like Astrid maybe. Character role, you can go as like crazy as you want with these ideas. So maybe like a teleporting software engineer. And based on that, and then yeah, so then here it also looks at your journal entry and it tries to suggest some learning goals for the game. So the idea is to sort of bake in personal growth through gameplay. And here it's picked up on my journal entry and it's suggested things like understanding quantum computing fundamentals, various other things. So you can go ahead and like pick as many as you like, and it will like create the game for you. So if I hit that, you'll see it's like now creating a protagonist. It's creating some cover art for the game, and it'll go ahead and create like chapters, beats within those chapters that you'll play through, and all that kind of stuff. This can take like up to a minute, so I'm gonna skip the generation part. I'm just gonna refresh and come back there. And you can see I've tried out quite a few myself. Um, And maybe to give you a sense of what the gameplay actually looks like, I'm going to show you some of the demo games that I've got here. So, one that I really like is the Dream Vacation Simulator. And if I start this one here, that'll pop me into this screen, and the music in the background. So I'll start the adventure. Maybe just to call out. So the games are sort of story-based RPG, choose your own adventure style gameplay. And you can set a reading level, so you can switch it from like grade 12 through to kindergarten, essentially. We'll keep it at 6. And yeah, the idea is that you create these like little story games that people can play through, and they're kind of fun, but they also try to help people achieve their learning goals, whether that's like a topic that they want to learn, or maybe it's exploring something within their life. And actually, whilst that's starting up, I'll just mention there's a little like radio station selector here. That's what's controlling the background music. I need to fix this like text scrolling thing. There's a lot still to do in the UI, but you can flip through, different radio stations. And I quite like the Black Cat one. It's kind of like a Prohibition era jazz. But for now, I'm going to pause that just so that the audio is a little bit cleaner. And yeah, within the gameplay itself, so essentially you're playing through a story, text-based story. So this is using OpenAI's GPT model, and it's basically creating a storyline that you play through step by step. Kind of like I was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. So the idea is you create this game world, you read through the various storylines, and then you get to make choices that sort of affect how the story will play out. So I wasn't actually reading that properly, but I pick a choice, and then between each choice that you make, kind of again inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, you have a skill check. And so these are the mini games that the AI system is dropping in based on the choice that you made to kind of test your learning as you play. And so this one, what type of vacation would you prefer, knowing it could impact your emotional well-being? And so I think this game had learning goals around like emotional resilience and well-being and things like that. And so I should have probably been reading the story more carefully, but I'll have a guess here. Oh, I got the answer wrong. Oh, there is no right or wrong answer. Okay, so still some stuff to figure out. Um, but yeah, so you kind of go through that gameplay. You can continue essentially infinitely. How it works here is, you can track the choices that you made and the results of the mini game. Here's the goals that this game has. So it's emotional intelligence, stress management, resilience. And you can track your progress. So we're still on chapter 1. We haven't really made much progress at all. And if I maybe try out one more mini game, let's see what it suggests. And the games are pretty basic right now. So this is an area that I kind of want to improve on and just make a little more engaging. It can take a little minute between turns, but let's see what the AI is going to pull out for this turn. I should edit this edit this part out. Okay, so we got our next turn. Okay, a smile seems to ripple through the system's voice. Very well, I'll guide you to meet them. But remember, every realm has its own rules. Suddenly, you're standing at the edge of the ethereal forest, an eerie glow illuminating your path. And the tone of voice for these stories can be configured as well. So there's some options to change, how the narrator sounds. But actually, I feel like they're kind of they're pretty fun. Oh, so this game here is like a Wordle game. Picture in your mind, often when you sleep, and so you can go ahead and try and guess. I don't know. I guess it's dream. I got it right first shot. Okay, cool. So that's kind of how the gameplay works. And I'm back to 0 because I had -10 and now +10. Cool. So you could go through that game essentially infinitely, and the more you play, hopefully the closer it gets to achieving your learning goals, or moves in that trajectory. And I think there's still a ton to do to make this experience better. I've looked at integrating video models instead of just like static images. So trying to get the quality cost balance right there could be interesting. I think there's also a bunch of new technology coming out around, taking an image and then generating either a 3D scene or almost like an entire playable game world. And so I'm super interested in, taking this really base skeleton and progressing it further. I think that, if you look at the apps and the competition on the market right now in terms of like games and people's attention, like the bar is so high that my ambition is definitely to progress from, really basic story mechanics as a foundation, and then just build more immersive experiences, going forward. But that's essentially the games that you play, and you can create as many as you want. They can be super personalized. I was exploring going back to ancient Pompeii, quantum computing, mathematical mysteries, the future of AI, all that kind of stuff. So these are all the stuff that I was personally interested in, but your ones would look probably very different. And then finally, I'll look at the character. So the character is essentially a GPT integration, so it's not too dissimilar from chatting with Chat GPT. The difference is it'll have all the context of the memories or the journal entries that you've entered, so it'll know you pretty well, or hopefully better than Chat GPT. And then additionally, it will also have like context on the games that you've created, stuff that you're trying to learn or improve on, and also the choices that you've made. So, what I've been really surprised by, from testing is just how personal it can feel, which is really cool. But I didn't want to stop there. Like, I think that a lot of AI apps these days have these chatbots integrated, and that felt sort of pretty table stakes. And so, what I've started working on here is you can request, things like a meditation, sort of personalized meditation, again, based on all the context of the things that you've been playing or, recording in the app. It'll also suggest things like physical activity, movement, and personal connections, like based on people that maybe are mentioned in your journal entries. All of these are text-based right now, but I'd love to, take them a little bit further. I think it'd be especially really cool to do like personalized meditation, like guides that are more visual, like a video with like some great audio to go with it. But one of the first things that I've been working on within this part of the app is this daily check-in. And so the idea is that you can kind of give people a little sort of mood check-in thing. So you enter, how you're feeling today, what your sleep was like, whether you've achieved any goals. And then it looks at things like social connection, physical touch, moments of joy, moments of awe. And in some ways, just answering this form is kind of like a prompt to think about, oh yeah, maybe I should like, move towards achieving some of these things. But the interesting thing is once you start, using this on a daily basis, what the app is able to do is if I pop up in this insights panel, it'll start tracking how things are going for you. Mine look terrible because I haven't actually been doing my daily check-ins lately, and so I only have like a couple of data points. But essentially, those questions were designed with some neuroscience principles in mind, and most specifically, they're looking at things like neuromodulators. So, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, norepinephrine, and how those things affect your mood and your brain, and how you feel day to day. As an example, having physical touch, like hugs, that kind of stuff, releases oxytocin in your brain. And so that's why the daily check-in, asks specifically about that. And then it tries to, gauge roughly at a very high level, like, based on what you're saying, how might your sort of wellness pattern actually look. And obviously, this is like super, super high level and very vague. And so I think it would be really interesting to see how you could get that to be even more accurate. And then the other thing that's super interesting is that it's building out a personality profile about you. And the way that it's mainly doing that is actually through the gameplay that we looked at earlier. And so all the choices that you're making throughout your gameplay kind of give you a picture of your personality based on the big five personality traits, so things like openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, and agreeableness. And yeah, I just thought that it would be really cool to take all of the sort of psychology principles and sophisticated AI algorithms that are used in apps like TikTok and all these like gaming apps where they're really trying to incorporate concepts around intermittent reward schedules, dopamine release in your brain, and building products that are obviously super engaging, but also to me feel like they're really optimizing for the wrong things. They're optimizing for, ad views, time in app. Whereas, it'd be really cool to switch the narrative and see what would happen if you use that same technology with the explicit goal of optimizing for someone's happiness. And so a lot of the prompts that are are used in this system are really like defining that as the end like goal, the end thing to optimize for. And that's why I think the gameplay and the character chat, yeah, they can be like quite powerful tools for just a daily or whenever you have some downtime, you can kind of pause your life for a minute, open up this app, hopefully have some fun, but have some fun that's helping you achieve your goals or helping you with your personal growth. So yeah, that's kind of where the app is at right now. Obviously, there's still lots to do. There's a lot of broken UI and features that are sort of half finished. But I'd love any feedback on yeah what people think about this app, how they might see themselves using it, or maybe even what's missing or what could be interesting to sort of encourage them or hook them into using it. Because I think like the biggest challenge is really creating something that's helpful and healthy, but also still fun and engaging. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Thanks for checking out this video, and yeah, I'd love to catch up with anyone that's interested in chatting more. Thank you. See you around.